Good morning, fifth graders. This is Mrs. Novak. We are covering pages 112 and 113 today. We are talking about triangles, those polygons that have three sides. Three, okay? Today we're talking about how to classify them based on how many equal or congruent sides they have. So let's check it out. An equilateral triangle is a triangle that has all three sides that are equal. And you see these little lines that I wrote, okay? So if there's one line in each one, that means all those three are equal. We call that an equilateral triangle, okay? But that's because it is all equal. If you are talking about angles, right here, we have three angles that are less than 90 degrees, so we call it an acute triangle. Our second triangle is an isosceles triangle. That means we have a triangle that has two equal sides. Notice only two sides have the line. The third does not. Now, notice here we have an obtuse angle. That means it's greater than 90 degrees. Okay? That angle means that this triangle is called an obtuse triangle. And finally, we have a scalene triangle. Notice that there's not this little hash line in any of them, but that's because all three sides are different. So we call it a scalene. Now, this triangle happens to have that little square in the corner. Anytime you see that square, we call that triangle a right triangle. So let's look at this example. Look at this triangle. Notice they have the little hash mark through two, but not through the third. So if you go back up, which one has two? An isosceles triangle. So this triangle would be called an isosceles triangle. What do you notice about the angles here? You see that little square, don't you? Whenever you see that square, what kind of triangle are we dealing with? A right triangle. So this triangle has two names. Okay, the first one is by sides. We have two equal sides, so it's an isosceles. The second name is by its angle. We have a right angle, so it's called a right triangle. So down here, you're going to be using both of those. If you look at this, it's giving you measurements. So let's talk about sides. First, do we have any equal sides? We have 9, 14, and 15. None of those are equal. What kind of triangle? Go back up here. No equal sides. What do we call that? A scalene. So you're going to write scalene. Now, the second one is by angles. It's asking you to do both. Okay, so let's look at the angles. Do we have any right angles? Doesn't look like it. Right angle is 90 degrees. You know that from fourth grade. Okay, do we have anything greater than 90 degrees? 66, 78, and 36. Nope. So it's not an obtuse triangle. All these angles are less than 90 degrees. So if we go back up here, what do we call a triangle that has all three angles less than 90 degrees? An acute triangle. You are going to do that with every single one of these. These give you measurements. Down here, you've got those little hash marks or those lines that tell you. For example, number 5, do you have any equal hash marks? Nope. Number 6, how many equal hash marks do you have? You have 1, 2, so that means 2 equal sides. Okay, so moving on to page 113, it's very similar. You are looking at 1, 2, 3, and 4, doing the same thing that you just did. And then this one, it's the same thing, but it's just giving you measurements. Go back to number 1 if you don't understand. And then we have our problem solving. I need you to explain these, okay? If you have any questions, always reach out to me.